Hello, class. Welcome to Week 2, Special Topics in Executive Court and Agency Administration. The Administrator is an educator developing an online training module. This week, I will provide you an overview of the primary roles of the Administrator, the Manager-Supervisor, as an educator, who is the pillar of management supervision. The primary roles and functions of the manager-supervisor are administrative, supportive, and educational. When we think in terms of administration, we must think in terms of a process that implements organizational goals. This is a process that involves frontline supervisors, mid-level managers, and division managers. The supervisor, especially the frontline and the mid-level supervisor, is the link in the chain of administration, responsible for agency management, and specific, clearly defined administrative managerial functions are assigned to this individual. This, in essence, is administrative supervision. Supportive supervision focuses on the intervention that reinforces the ego defenses and the strengths and the capacity of the worker to deal with job stresses and tensions. It includes procedures such as reassurance, encouragement, recognition of achievement, along with realistically based expressions of confidence, approval, and commendation, catharsis, ventilation, desensitization, universalism, attention to listening and communication interests and concern. It's the human relations aspect of the job for the manager and the supervisor. Educational supervision is concerned with knowledge, skills, and attitude. What is the cognitive learning that the supervisee must have? What are the skills and tools that the supervisee must have? And attitude, we think in terms of the affective behavior. The differences in the roles and functions between administrative, educational, and supportive supervision are described in this next slide. Both administrative and educational supervision share the same ultimate objective. The objective is to provide the best possible services either to the community, to the client, or the victims, depending upon what your emphasis might be, or multiple emphasis. Administrative supervision provides structure and resources. It requires supervisory skills and management. Oftentimes, we have individuals who are promoted to administrative positions or to managerial and supervisory positions because they're good workers. But now they must learn to develop a new set of management skills. And the administrative piece is a very difficult piece to adhere to. Supportive supervision requires human relations skills, the ability to motivate staff, the ability to help staff deal with the stressors that occur as a result of administrative supervision and educational supervision. Educational supervision provides training for staff. It requires supervisory, technical, and pedagogical skills. It requires the ability of the supervisor to be able to teach, coach the worker in developing and understanding why the work is done, giving them the skills to be able to perform, and also to be able to deal with the behaviors and the affective attitudes of staff in working with them. Educational supervision is distinguished from in-service training and staff development. When we think in terms of staff development, it refers to all of the procedures an agency might employ to enhance the job-related knowledge, skills, and attitudes of its total staff. It includes in-service training and also educational supervision. Staff development deals with your unit It deals with individuals. It deals with the whole agency. In-service training is a specific form of staff development. It's planned, it involves formal training, it's context-free, and it's concerned with practice in general. It is concerned with the work that needs to be done in general within the agency or within your unit. Educational training is context-bound. It is concerned with the practice of specific situations, addressing the individual skills that are required to perform the work. So when we think in terms of in-service training, we think in terms of the general skills that the employee must have. When we think in terms of educational training, we think in terms of the specific skills that an individual must have to perform his or her job. The significance of educational supervision is that it is a response to the lack of agency training which exists in many organizations. Not every agency has a training department or a training component. I worked in a large organization which for 17 years I was a trainer. And when there are budget cuts and when there are administrative changes, that's usually and unfortunately the first thing that goes, where there's the highest need. Educational supervision is also a response or the acquisition of knowledge and skills needed for the work to be done. Employees need specific knowledge and understanding of what it is that they have to do. They also need the skills to be able to do what they're doing. And educational training also addresses employee satisfaction and dissatisfaction. It helps employees feel good about their work in terms of what it is that they're able to do. They are given the tools, they are given the skills, they're given an understanding of work that needs to be done. It also provides, in some instances, an opportunity for the employee to ventilate or get rid of some of their frustrations in terms of what it is that they can't do. In one of our readings, we talk about what is educational supervision. Well, to quote, it means that it is concerned with teaching the knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary to perform for the performance of clinical social work tasks through a detailed analysis of the worker's interaction with the client. The standard definition of clinical supervision is that of a situation in which a more experienced professional oversees the work of a less experienced professional. The point that we need to clearly understand with respect to this definition, and that is that we're not really in every setting providing clinical supervision. We're using the word in a very broad sense of its meaning. Most people end up in management or in supervisory positions or in administration because they have had some experience with frontline work in terms of what needs to be done. And the assumption is that the more experienced worker, the more seasoned worker, your better performers are eventually promoted and moved up. And then they are required to transfer that knowledge and those skills to their staff. Now, it requires a lot of skill on the part of those individuals in order to be able to do that, because then they need to develop different kinds of skills, which is part of what we're going to be doing with respect to this training that you are involved with.